St. Catharines Mayor Mat Siscoe is back to talk about what is happening around the city. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here.
One of the hottest topics, at least in this province, is Premier Doug Ford's ban on automated speed enforcement cameras. He's not backing down.
Yep.
What do you make of all of this?
I signed the letter that was sent off last week by Mary Ann Mead Ward and Pat Brown, and I agree. I think in school zones, I think they help. They slow people down. We have all the statistics that prove that, which is why I signed the letter. With that said, the Premier's made it very clear he's not going to change on this. He's going to introduce legislation. So I'm in the midst right now. I'm putting together a strong mayor direction to my staff, identify the traffic calming measures that we can put in place for low cost in the short term, and then what longer term infrastructure changes we can make, whether it's narrowing streets in front of schools or putting in the speed tables, which are longer than speed humps, but don't cause the same sort of damage to our first responder vehicles, to our buses.
Yeah.
Let's look at those. It's going to cost money. Like, this is going to be expensive, but at the end of the day, I think all of the mayors that signed that letter, all the mayors in the province, our goal is to try and slow people down in front of elementary schools. I will push back. I disagree with the Premier, that it's a cash grab. Like I've said, fine, I'll donate every dime that comes into from this thing to charity. I don't want it at the city. Although the money that we received from the region for this, we were putting into traffic calming measures. Right. That was the whole point of the money. But okay, fine. But it's going to cost money. And I appreciate the fact that the province recognizes that. And the Premier said, they're going to help municipalities. I hope so, because we need the financial capacity to be able to put these measures in place. But like I said, I'm asking for the report. We're going to start rolling that out soon because this needs to be done.
So it sounds like you will, once the legislation comes in, you'll reluctantly have to take them down.
Well, our programs actually run through the region, so the city has never put them up. And I was comfortable letting the region do it because, again, they were in school zone areas. I'm not going to try and fight the province. At the end of the day, I'm not interested in that political fight. I need to slow people down in front of elementary schools. That's been the goal from the beginning. That has to be the goal.
It's budget time in many municipalities across the province. Hamilton's mayor has said, listen, we need to hold the line at 4.25%. The mayor of Brampton has said we're implementing a hiring freeze to, curb cost escalation. What's the plan in St. Catharines?
So right now it looks like we're going to be coming in the low 2% range for the city, and I think that's the result of some very difficult decisions we made a couple of years ago, but decisions we knew we had to make coming out of COVID to fix the city's finances and deal with the inflation that happened. I think a lot of people forget, the 2022, you had inflation like 9%. Yeah. We didn't shy away from that. We recognize the cost of things are going up, and we're not going to go deeper into debt to try and deal with them. We're going to, deal with the problems head on. That has put us in a very different situation than I think a lot of other municipalities are in because we dealt with it. It was uncomfortable. It was politically difficult, but we're now in a place, like I said, the last couple of years, we've been able to have very low city increases. And when I look at the region of Niagara chose a different route. And we see that the regional portion of the taxes is always big. And that's difficult for us. But like I said, if you make difficult decisions early on, it makes life better for everybody further on down the road.
We have a story on this next topic in our news this morning, and that is Jim Bradley being remembered in a very special way in St. Catharines.
Yeah, we made the decision back at the beginning of the year to recognize a couple of political heavyweights in our community. We started with Councillor Joe Kushner, who has been on council for more than 50 years. He's one of the people, the voices I look to. And then we made the decision to rename a park after Jim Bradley. And Jim knew about it, and I think he's a very humble guy, and so I don't think he was thrilled with us right off the bat, but he accepted it, and I think he appreciated it. Unfortunately, he passed away before we were able to do it, so we did that yesterday. We dedicated the park, and it was great to be out with friends and family and just community members who know, like Jim's fingerprints are on so many different parts of our community, and he's built a legacy which is going to last generations in St. Catharines. I'm glad he knew that we were doing it because he was that important to all of us.
A well-deserved tribute. The iconic home run that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit on Sunday in Game 2 of the ALDS, the first ever playoff Grand Slam in Blue Jays history, was caught by a fan from St. Catharines. Brendan Craig is his name. How cool is that? That's a pretty special moment.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. I'm a Yankees fan, so this one was tough. Although I'm a Jays fan now. On the bandwagon, I anger a lot of people when I say that, but I love the Jays second. It's very cool, and I think it's, baseball, That's one of the cool things about baseball. It's the fan interaction portion. And I've been lucky enough to catch a foul ball. I immediately flipped it to a kid because that's what you're supposed to do. This one's a little bit different, though. I respect, you're going to hold on to that first grand slam ball. And, I think that's pretty cool that it's got a St. Catharines connection.
Yeah, I get a signed bat or a signed jersey. Lastly, we got 30 seconds. The fall tree giveaway, hugely popular.
Oh, it's amazing. And, when I knew we were going to talk about this, I looked into it. If you go back about 8 years ago, we had a tree canopy coverage in St. Catharines of 14%. We're up to almost 23% now, and this has been a big portion of it. We made some big changes about 8 years ago. We said we were going to treat trees like infrastructure. That opened up more money available for them. But we also said, we don't have the capacity to plant as many as we want. Let's just give them to residents, and they have responded. We get lineups, it's just phenomenal, and it's allowed us to really drastically increase our tree canopy. We're doing better than a lot of other places, and we're proud of that.
More info on the City of St. Catharines website. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Happy.
And you can find more links on our website as well, chch.com/morninglive.